This is the news on 92.3 Nigeria Info.
Good evening, it's Friday, 21st July 2023. Remember, peace is the path to the prosperity of a nation. Let peace reign. On the news this evening, Port Harcourt residents call for stability in pump price of petrol. Rivers State House of Assembly sets up committee to investigate removal, looting of manhole covers. 2 suspected kidnappers handed over to police in Agboncha community, Eleme local government area. Mieti Allah to mediate over farmers-herders conflict in Rivers State. Federal government increases fees of Unity schools. On the foreign scene, judge sets trial date in former U.S. President Trump classified files case. I am Constance Mega. Port Harcourt residents are calling for stability in the pump price of petrol following the continuous rise in the price of foodstuff. When our correspondents caught up with some of them at Mile 1 and Mile 3 markets, they expressed doubts that the plan by the federal government to distribute cash palliatives will get to the people who need it.
Spaghetti used to be 450 naira before. Now 500 naira. This is a country where the poor is getting poorer, the rich is getting richer. Vegetable 100 naira cannot cook anything for you. The fish 200 naira cannot do anything for you.
Let them look high on how to bring things down for us. Even pepper, you cannot get pepper of 50 naira again. Pepper they will tell you 100 naira, and it is too small. It's government to help us and bring things down.
As I come today, it's 26,000 naira of the local beans. Last week I buy 25,000. Today 26. Now they don't add 1,000 naira. This palliative work no go work. You no go even help save. You know,
let them help us to bring down the fuel. We are the one that produce the oil. The oil is from our place, but we are suffering while people are enjoying. We let them bring the fuel rate down so that people can be able to go to market and buy something.
Well, traders at the markets also spoke to our correspondent.
Iron white beans before 55, now 60,000. Iron brown beans before 55, now 60,000. That's never to add money. I was 1,000, 2,000. Back there 36, 37. Let's say Nigerian rice, now they grade by grade.
Tomato now. Cost well by small basket, 15,000. Now 20,000, sometimes 18.
So like spaghetti, we used to buy 8,900 naira. You sell like 9,091. But now those people now they are selling it 9,200 naira. Now a carton of Gino now is 4,500 naira to sell 4,647. Many people find it difficult to buy. Even you that is going to buy at the end of it, after selling, you go back to not see by the same price.
Now, some truck drivers also told our correspondents that the cost of bringing foodstuff from the north into Port Harcourt has increased.
Even this beans come from Kano, some they come from Katsina to Port Harcourt as the oil don't cost. Before you carry motor from Mubi reach Port Harcourt, you go spend like 300,000 get which abro. But here some police they give her like 1,000.
The expenses the way this motor is pay for you is very much. The expenses too plenty. Task force all this abro. If you reach for all this produce, we see some boy will carry stick, stand for road, send a produce. Road now the wrong side, we no get security for road. So I may government will help us do for all those things.
Well, our correspondent reports that 3 days after the NNPCL announced a new petrol pump price, there has been a significant increase in the price of some staple food in the market. A 50 kg bag of Nigerian rice now sells at between 39,000 naira and 40,000 naira, as against 38,000 naira or 37,000 naira, while a custard bucket, which earlier sold for 2,700 naira, goes for 3,000 naira now. A 50 kg bag of foreign rice that sold for 46,000 naira now sells between 47,000 naira and 48,000 naira, while a custard rubber of foreign rice, which sold for 4,000 naira, now sells for 4,200 naira. Meanwhile, 25 liters of groundnut oil, which was sold for 33,000 naira, now goes for 35,000 naira, while 10 liters, which used to be 16,500 naira, now goes for 16,750 naira. 5 liters, which was sold for 7,000 naira, now goes for 7,500 naira, whereas a liter for 2,000 naira and a half liter for 1,000 naira. And now for red oil or palm oil, a litre that used to go for 1,200 naira now goes for 1,400 naira, and half a litre of palm oil that used to go for 600 naira now goes for 700 naira. A custard rubber of fresh tomatoes now sells for 3,500 naira as against 3,000 naira. A crate of eggs, which sold between the range of 2,000 naira to 2,500 naira, now sells for 2,700 naira to 2,800 naira. In the meantime, some women in Port Harcourt say they have reduced the portion of meal they serve their family and their usual personal purchases following current economic reality since the subsidy removal. They spoke to our correspondent.
The first thing I had to do is mindset shift for myself, my family, for the children. Let them understand that it's not business as usual. You are not going to always get all that you want the way you used to.
I have certain amounts my husband gives me. I have to beg him to add 5,000 naira to it. It now cushion my own side of contribution to the household. Then I've reduced the size of meat in the pot.
Can't just buy something today and come back tomorrow and it's the same price. Everything is just shooting up.
Even if we still buy the one my money can afford, I buy. The children request for this one, this and that. It's just God that is providing.
You have to really adjust and watch as the day unfolds, whatever it brings.
Now, for some single mothers, the situation is even tougher on them as they are the sole breadwinners in their home.
Business is low and feeding is on a high side. So I'm a single mom now. I have children. There's a lot of responsibility. I'm not even talking about myself, but the children, there's no man helping out. So it's only on me. And so it will be really difficult.
Well, it's not easy at all. Don't go there. Even those who have complaining, then talk of us who not get work and we're single parents.
On their part, some single ladies are grateful that they are not jobless. Well, one of them said even the men who usually give them free money no longer do so.
We feel like maybe 20% out of 100 still show working, but seriously, like 70-80% really the local.
I have my house, I have a job too. God has made me fine. I'm actually fine.
I'm still staying with my parents, so I didn't really get to feel the no cash thing. The only thing I knew was that the amount of flour we used to buy reduced. We were buying 20 liters, we reduced it to 10 liters. Then I have to cut down on other expenses at home.
Like I'm working now with my little business added to it. I'm okay. I'm so okay, but I'm fine.
On Tuesday this week, the Nigeria National Petroleum Company Limited announced a new petrol pump price of over 600 naira. Moving on now, the Rivers State government has been advised to consider establishing the Public Utilities Protection Committee as contained in the Public Works and Utilities Protection Law of 2012. Well, this advice was part of the recommendations from the Rivers State House of Assembly Ad Hoc Committee set up to investigate removal and looting of manhole covers and mesh wires used in the fencing. And lawmaker representing Bonny constituency, Victor Okojumbo, spoke to newsmen shortly after the committee met with relevant ministries today.
Existing law read for offenders. Look at how we can amend it. There is a section that deals with the establishment of the Public Utility Protection Committee. And under this establishment of this law, the Governor, His Excellency, has the power to appoint or inaugurate that committee, in order to police. And this committee is comprised of the Minister of Urban Development, the Minister of Water Resources and Rural Development, the Minister of Works, the Minister of Power, the Minister of Transport, the Minister of Housing.
Well, Mr. Okojumbo called for a review of the River State Works and Utilities Protection Law 2012 to include stiffer penalties for those caught removing manhole covers.
Now, also look at the law. There's an existing law read for offenders. Look at how we can amend it to include stiffer penalties so that if you're caught stealing, destroying or removing this manhole and wire mesh, or even any of the state government infrastructure, you can be prosecuted and then face the full weight of the law, stiffer penalties.
In the meantime, the Commissioner of Justice and Attorney General of Rivers State, Zaccheaus Adango, said there are laws, but what is lacking is implementation and enforcement.
Because We are dealing with very serious issue, and this murder is connected to it. Murder is connected to what we are dealing with, because under the law, the court can sentence you to maybe 5 years or 1 year, as the case may be, in addition to asking to bear the cost of replacement. So for me, the problem is not one of lack of law. It's not lack of law. We already have an existing law. So what we need to be talking about is a problem of enforcement of what the law is. So now we can only advise that this is the law. That law is sufficient for us to work with, but we need to enforce this. Because without enforcement, this law is a worthless piece of paper.
On his part, the Commissioner of Transport, Jacobson Mbina, said a task force should be constituted to play surveillance roles in order to tackle the removal of manhole covers.
The task force, which it is only we out, should be a joint task force. I say so in the sense that it shouldn't be only Obiakbo. We need a holistic task force that will match this program for us. Because if you set the track and catch them now, but if we now say, okay, every of these boys rolling this thing on the street, because there's this kind of wheelbarrow, they roll on the street. So we go to arrest all of them. That's the only solution.
Well, correspondent Soibio Ruwari reports that some speakers from different ministries during the interface meeting made some suggestions like activating the C4I activities of police, installing CCTV cameras on major roads, and rapid sensitization of community leaders and residents. The River State chairman of Mieti Allah Cattle Breeders Association, Mohammed Tuko, has assured that the body will mediate over issues concerning farmers and herders. Mr. Tuko, while acknowledging complaints of the destruction of farm crops by cattle in various villages, said the union will convene a meeting of all herders next week.
Begin to fight and go threaten them, kill their cows. That cannot be settlement. Because this is better. I need to call meeting for my own plan. If you stay with them, show everywhere why problem they may go coin the fight. Any person for somebody for making sure I will need to know people who people there for the other area. Which next government give me session. Let me enter inside my people, know the people where they any place where they are crying. But I know the people where they are. I'm going to invite them. Give me now to Tuesday.
Elemege Local Government Council says 2 persons suspected to be kidnappers have been caught by Nchia Security Council and handed over to the Eleme Police Division for further investigation and prosecution. The council in a statement said the suspects were caught assaulting a little girl selling gari at Pipeline in Abonchia community and confessed to using rings discovered in their bags to hypnotize their victims. Well, the statement says the girl said the suspected kidnappers started beating her up after she refused to follow them to collect money when they pretended to buy gari from her. Well, the River State Police Command is yet to speak on this. The Vice-Chancellor of the University of Port Harcourt, Professor Wunari George Will, has hailed a female lecturer, Professor Ezal Okowa, for helping a Year 1 student carry her baby while she wrote her exams. Professor Wunari, in a post on Facebook, said in his days, the character shown by the lecturer was never heard or seen. He described the action of the lecturer as humane. Still to come, federal government increases fees of Unity schools. Stay tuned.
Marine pollution, especially plastic waste and debris, pose huge
administration will deploy the entire machinery of state power to ensure adequate security of the lives and property of Nigerians. President Tinubu gave the assurance while delivering a speech at the graduation ceremony of the Senior Course 45 of the Command and Staff College in Jaji, Kaduna State today. Lawyers and journalists were today ordered to leave courtroom 7 of a Federal High Court in Abuja, where the trial of terrorist negotiator Tukur Mamu was holding. When the matter was called, the lawyer from the Office of the Attorney General of the Federation, E.A. Kaswe, told the court that their witnesses were in court in Yang Ekwo in the matter. INEC Chairman Mahmood Yakubu says concerns raised by Nigerians on results management at the various elections during the 2023 general elections will be addressed. Professor Yakubu said this today at the Commission's post-election review meeting with collation and returning officers who participated in the 2023 elections. Well, he said even though some of the concerns raised are before the courts, the Commission intends to discuss them in-house and share experiences on the way forward. And in business, the Federal Ministry of Education has increased the school fees of new students into federal government colleges, otherwise known as Federal Unity Colleges, to 100,000 naira. Well, this was contained in a directive from the Office of the Director of Senior Secondary Education Department of the Federal Ministry of Education. It was dated 25th May and addressed to all principals and Federal Unity Colleges. In entertainment, Tony Bennett, the legendary New York pop and jazz singer, has died aged 96. Well, the late Bennett was known for his songs such as The Way You Look Tonight, Body and Soul, and I Left My Heart in San Francisco. In sports, Spain cruised to victory in their Women's World Cup opener as they dominated Costa Rica in Wellington.
And now, we'll bring you news from around the world.
A federal judge has scheduled former U.S. President Donald Trump's trial for alleged mishandling of classified documents for May next year. Mr. Trump had wanted the trial held after the November 2024 election. Well, prosecutors actually wanted it this year. Well, the high-profile case will begin with the election campaign in full swing. Prosecutors say Mr. Trump illegally kept secret documents at his Mar-a-Lago estate after he left office and obstructed government efforts to retrieve them. And that's the news. But before we go, another look at the highlights of the major stories. On the news this evening, you heard that Port Harcourt residents are calling for stability in the pump price of petrol. The Rivers State House of Assembly has set up an ad hoc committee to investigate the removal and looting of manhole covers. 2 suspected kidnappers have been handed over to the police in Agwonchia community, Eleme local government area of Rivers State. Miyetti Allah say they will mediate over the farmers and herders conflict in Rivers State. The federal government has increased the school fees for Unity schools. And on the foreign scene, a judge has set a trial date in former U.S. President Donald Trump's classified files case. The news was edited by Martha Okere Nkem. Cloudy weather in Port Harcourt this evening. Remember, peace is the path to the prosperity of a nation. Let peace reign. I'm Constance Mega. Thank you so much for listening. Good evening.